did you ever think just 7 figures would hit just your account?
Well, I've never had, it just hit.
How's that change your life?
You can just breathe.
You don't do any more roofing whatsoever, and just let me use the name and let me run it, and I'll sell this company inside of 2 years. I'll make you to a millionaire. Is that my exact conversation?
That's it. And it happened.
Typical order. I got Chris Munz here, graduate from got Chris Munz here, who graduated from the high school I went to, Council Rock, but about 10 years older, 1983, baby. Chris, you don't know why you're here. You have no clue. You're like, what the hell am I doing here?
Exactly. Always a surprise.
But you like this. You like being on camera, don't you?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Great.
Comfortable, baby. You don't go no. So Friday night or Friday afternoon around 5 o'clock, I call you. What happens?
You told me Munz Roofing sold, and I was ecstatic.
Well, I actually said to you, check your bank account. You're like, good.
I did, and I was thrilled. My wife, actually, I showed my wife, and she said, "Is that going to stay?" So I thought that was fun.
Now, you've been successful. You helped the community a lot. You weren't involved in the roofing business at all. You always said you'd help if we needed you, but you weren't involved. We'll tell people about that. But talk about that moment when you open up and there's 7 figures plus in your account. Like, did you ever think just 7 figures would hit just your account for?
Not, I've always, it goes in slow, it goes in slow. I've never had, it just hit. No, I've never had that.
How's that change your life?
It just, honestly, it just makes you can just breathe. You don't have to worry about for, damn near 40 years. You're always like, well, as long as this goes, I'll be fine. Now everybody always tells me I worry too much and, whatever. But I think whatever success I've had is because I worry a lot. So it was just nice to be able to, I don't honestly think as a person, I think when you get money, it makes good people better, bad people worse, right? So
I agree with that statement.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going to change me as a person, right? I'll help more, do more, whatever I can do.
Our story is a little different than most of the people because, I already was selling companies and building, and we became partners. Most people don't realize it. And how we even met was, I think I called you and your dad out to Costi Circle when I lived there for an estimate, right?
Yep.
I think you wind up doing my outdoor kitchen, correct?
Yep. Roof cover. Yeah.
And then there was an incident, and like to the testament of you, I give you credit. There was an incident, and one of the subs didn't have the right insurance or something, and they denied my claim. And it was a big claim, like 150 to like it was
hurt.
Yeah. But when I called you up, I'm like, hey, Chris, and this is how we became friends. Most people don't know this. I was like, oh, here we go. Like, I'm gonna get in this war with this guy. So I didn't know you that well at the time.
Yep.
And I was like, here we go, Em. I'm like, here we go. And when I told you, hey, Chris, you were like, Lance, don't worry about it. I got it. Yep. I'm like, what? He's like, I'll turn into mine or I'll pay for it myself. He's like, I understand. I was like, wow, this guy's different. Then we became friends after that because you did. You came in, I don't know if insurance covered, if you just put out your own pocket because you never told me both. Yeah.
Both.
Yeah, I knew something. And you did. You made it all right. Like, that's what I say to people when people always beat me. Like, sometimes I'll be at the football field or wherever. And people are like, oh, you're friends with Chris Munz. I'm like, yeah, he does all my work. They're like, he's expensive. I'm like, you get what you pay for. They're like, what? I'm like, you get what you pay for. And I tell that story. Like, really what you're paying for is security when you use someone like you. You do great work.
Right.
But do you think the average, I guess in your line of work, you're doing kitchens and baths. People can see a good kitchen or bath. So yeah, it's more cosmetic.
Additions. And so forth. Yep.
Then you bought a property. Well, this really was the tale of the story of how we became partners and friends. You bought a property on, I was there one time. Where was that? York Road. And you called me up. You said, I bought this property. I'm not sure what to do with it. Can you tell a story?
Yeah, I bought this property. My idea was, it was 14 acres in Buckingham. I thought, I just couldn't resist. My wife's like, I think we should think about it. I'm like, I can't think about it. But the offer got accepted. I figured we'd move there. The wife overruled me. And now I'm like, all right, now I got this property. Who should I call? You were the first person I thought of, called you, and here we are.
And I came and I met you at the property. Yep. I didn't know anything about it. And you're like, do you want to be my partner in this? I was like, sure.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know what we were going to do at the time.
Yep.
was like, sure, I'll be a partner.
Yep.
I got you the check next day.
Yep.
And then we were talking, and you were like, I think we can develop it. And I was like, okay, well, I know Vince Ferrati, I know Brian. And then we did that. And then you kept saying, hey, I want to do other stuff with you, Lance, to do other stuff. I was sitting around. This is a true story. This is where relationships matter and trust matters. I kept thinking of the Munz name all the time at the football field when people would say it to me, everywhere you see. Because that Munz name is the biggest name in Bucks County. There is no bigger name. There's no bigger name. Well, there's not. There's not a more trusted name. I'm not saying because you're my friend now.
No,
This is. That's what made me come up with the fucking idea.
I appreciate it.
So I said, I got this roofing company. We want to scale it fast. We need a brand. So I called you up. I said, Chris, I want to meet you. I said, let me use your Munz name. And you thought I was crazy, yes or no? Eric was like, this dude's high. I was like, you don't do any more roofing whatsoever, and I'll make you a partner in this business, and just let me use the name and let me run it, and I'll sell this company inside of 2 years. I'll make you to a millionaire. Is that my exact conversation?
That's it. And it happened. So, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and you think about that because, like I said to Deb on the phone when she called me, I was like, Deb, you trust me with the most sacred thing you have, your name. Can you talk about that? Because most people would not have given me their name.
Yeah, and
you gave me your name. Well, and I asked name. It's a name of the company around for 40 years.
And it's I've had people that to your point said, "What are you, crazy? You're what?" And I said, I just one of the things that I have within the construction field, I started doing roofing and siding early on. And then we started doing kitchens, baths, additions, all that. And what happened was the people assumed that we didn't do roofing anymore. I'm like, this is killing me. And that's when we just split it off. And you happen to right then say, hey, you want a partner? I'm like, well, why not? We're not doing much with it anyway. And then it grew. Deb is always just like in furlough. And you need that, right? The union. She's a little more conservative, like, are you sure? Like, because she sees, like you, how stressed out, and people don't understand. We just talked about that earlier. They think they see the whatever, just like you. They see all the grandiose and the great, but they don't see the nights and when you're stressed out and you can't sleep and all that. It doesn't.
It's not financial stress. It's called business stress. Yeah. It's everyday life stress.
It doesn't happen by accident, and you're either wired for it or you're not. And there's nothing wrong with when we were at the conference that Gary V was talking about. Hey, there's nothing wrong if you don't want the stress. Like, that's understandable. God bless you. Don't do it. Yeah. But just like you said, you don't need to come in. You don't need to work.
It's Monday morning, the day after we got funded, and I'm back here. Yeah. Nothing changed in my day.
Because this is what you need. You wouldn't know what to do. Now, could you balance it? And that's what I'm always working on, trying to balance it better. But Deb,
what's balanced? I don't think you can have true balance.
Well,
I don't believe that.
I think everything in moderation, right? You do with the kids. How many?
But I probably don't have balance with my kids because I want to be with my kids all the time because I know I'm on limited time.
But
where it becomes a problem with me and my wife sometimes.
Sure, but there's people, right, that they don't coach their kids because they got to be at work or they can't and whatever. So you realize you got a finite time.
I got to find out time. Listen, my legacy is my children, not the money.
Exactly.
Like, or whatever I do in business, this isn't my legacy. Right. I just have a difference of opinion.
And charity and so forth. So we're there. But to Des' point, her big thing is she wants me to just relax. I mean, she's afraid, that I'm going to. So that's what it meant to her was like, hey. And to me, knowing you, like with the company, like I knew, like you said, today it's still running like it was. So you're going to make sure, I'm going to make sure, because that name is so important to me, that we're going to keep it going, whether it got sold or not, we're still going to keep it going.
Your dad, he's your best friend.
Yep.
What the hell was he saying to you Friday night? I think your dad likes me. I think he thinks I'm a character. Right?
He loves you. Well, because he sees we have similar. I lived in my car. I went through all the whatever, just like your story's even more. It could be a movie. But, me and him, we had struggles. And he'll just, even now, whenever we talk, he'll see, he's like, I got to tell you, son, I'd have never believed it. So every time, actually, I called, I had him on the phone, I said, Mom, because my mother, God bless her. You know, whatever I do, you can do better. I told her, I said, I think I finally got something that will impress you, which is tough to do. She's 85, he's 89. And I told her, and she's like, you did it, son. You did it. You impressed me, which took me a while. But, you know,
and it has to feel good.
It does. It feels great.
I mean, that, like,
and I'm glad they're around to see it. You know what I mean?
Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Service Titan and Rilla, our technology of choice to helping us scale and grow our business and making sure all of our viewers have the technology to scale their business so when they want to sell it, they're able to. You said that to me. You said, I hope my dad is around to see it.
Yep.
And I hoped he was too, because your dad's always been good. But what's funny is this is, you know, because we went to the same high school and you heard stories about when I was younger. And what's funny is 99% of Council Rock kids would never have given me their last name, probably still to today, just because of what they knew then.
Right.
And what people would have said and questioned and judged them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked you to use your name, you didn't ask me for anything.
No.
You were like, done, go.
No. And I trust you, and I know we're going to do more.
Yeah.
I just know it. So, and you said that even before that you think we're going to do something together. And I remember telling my father, I said, you know, he says he thinks we're going to do something. I don't know what we'll be doing.
I thought we were going to build stuff together, to be honest. I thought we were going to build stuff. And you know me, I really don't want to be in the building space.
Yeah.
That's just, and I have the utmost respect for you. People don't realize what you go through.
No.
Like, how do I say it nicely? Like, it is a messed up game when people are doing kitchens and additions and remodeling, because new construction is way easier.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because you have the foreman living on the premises all the time, so they're seeing everything. And a lot of people are like, well, they don't understand. Well, why didn't you do it this way? It's like, because just like you said with the processes, there's a process, and that's what we need to go through. And there's bumps.
There's always bumps. There's always bumps.
But one thing across the board with whatever, communication. And it's just one of those things. It's never going to be as good as I want it or you want it.
No doubt.
But you're constantly working on it.
How does this change for your kids? Because now, like, you have kids, you love your kids, we talk about your kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it has to feel good knowing, all right, my kids, if they want to go to college, it's over. Don't worry about it. You can buy each one of them a house, honestly, free and clear. Mm-hmm. Like, how does it change for your children? I'm not saying that's what you have to do. I'm just saying like, you have options, but like, it has to be like.
It's funny because my wife's like, I don't want them to know. I'm like, well, they already, because
they're going to know.
Two of them work with us at Munz Construction, right? And my father works there. And he's an old German, and, you know, I was raised hungry and humble. So, you don't, and my kids will be the same way. I'll help them, right? But there is no free ride, you know, just like you, same way. But it is tough because in our area, right, everybody is fortunate, you know, to a degree.
Without a doubt. We live in, listen, I mean, I don't know if Council Rock is the wealthiest area around, but I think it's one of them.
And so you can't, and the big thing, we have a foundation, Pay It Forward people, that Kelsey, my daughter, runs, and I run with her, and it's about giving back. And I know you're very charitable, and that's, what can you do? Honestly, the first thing I did after that, I called St. Jude and made a donation. I was just like, I always watch this kid. I'm thinking to myself, this is unbelievable. But not that that's going to make a...
Well, we'll make a difference. It all makes a difference. Yeah. When you did this, because I brought three of you guys into a room together, which never met each other, I don't think, before we always spent time with each other, partners. And I said, guys, you got to trust me. I said, I have documents here. And you guys kind of knew what you were coming in the room for, but you weren't sure. And I was like, you're all going to be partners. Your company's going to be diluted. Now I'm rolling it all up. And this is how we're going to do it. And this is the game plan. And every one of you signed within the hour. Like, no one you said, like, I got to go get lawyers to look at. You guys just said, give me the fucking paperwork and let's go. Can you talk about the trust it takes? And, like, what that moment was like, because you had to be nervous. I don't care what anyone says. Like, you're being diluted. You got two guys that you don't even know are your partners. Like,
well, and I think it's a situation, again, it comes back to you. The only common denominator was you, right? We all knew you, how they knew, and I trust you. And for better or worse, I trust people until they show me they can't be trusted. And then we're done, and then we're done. It's never happened. So it's more a matter of, if you say they're good people, same thing with the people that you surround yourself with. Like I've been to parties at your house and I've said this, you see every different character there is, but they're all great people. Everybody that you've introduced me to is good people. And a lot of them are people that you have nothing to do with business or anything. Right. You're just, and some of them you do. So,
yeah, I mean, my network isn't everyone I do business with. I think, you got to have healthy friendships you don't have with. I try to hang out with people that are good dads, good moms, good fathers, good just individuals. Listen, I always tell people this, money's never going to make you happy, so you might as well be around people that make you happy.
Yeah. And I heard somebody said, money will make a good person better and a bad person worse.
Without a doubt.
And I was like, wow, that was intense.
What's next for Chris Munz? I mean, I know you got Munz Construction. It's growing. What's next? I know we're selling property right now. We're developing. How many houses did I get approved for anyway?
17.
17 houses in Is that Buckingham?
Buckingham. Yeah.
How's that? How are they?
You don't want to, like you say, to go through. And again, that's the interesting part that I think, because, with Munz Roofing, you took it and you roll with this one. I'm taking, I'm rolling.
Let's talk about that. Hold on. Because people think when you're my partner, I'm going to do everything.
No.
People think like, oh man, Lance is going to do it all. We're 17 homes right now. How many calls have I made? How many, I'm involved in it all. I know every detail. Like, talk about
whatever you ask me, hey, how's it going? And I say it's, this or that or whatever. Typically, it's at the end of another call. You're like, everything good? I'm like, yeah.
But do I actually make the call itself?
No.
Do I show up to court hearings?
No.
And I don't think people understand that. I'm not going to drive the business.
And I respect that because the same thing with when you said Munz Roofing, like, all right, and you told me, like, I'm going to take it. But I think with you got to decide you're going to drive or let somebody else drive, but there's not going to be that in between.
You cannot have in between. So, I said to people all the time, you got to trust your partners, let them run with the ball. Mistakes are going to happen. Shit happens. It's going to be bumps. They'll work through it.
Yeah. No, and that's how that's going. And hopefully that'll take care of itself shortly.
Yeah, that will.
Yep.
Anything else I'm missing, Jacob?
It's a good podcast. Yeah, that's a good one. No, I don't think so, guys.
I might need my own podcast, I think. You know what I mean?
Here, I got one last question.
Oh, boy.
Being that we both went to Council Rock.
North.
There was only one at the time. Yes. So when kids there or somewhere else, other schools, and that kid, because I graduated second from last in my class or last, whatever it was, I was sped ed, K through 12, et cetera, et cetera. What would you say to that kid after partnering with me, knowing my background?
There's something you said to me, and I remember because I was talking about the college, and you said, you know what, forget the college, give me somebody that wants to work and is willing to learn, and you'll take over from them. I think the key is that you're willing to see past, what degrees or what they make or what they don't make or whatever, and say, are you willing to work? And if you're willing to work, we'll go. But it's not a lazy person's world. You got to be willing to work. I think one of the problems is people are looking for shortcuts. But I think what we can do is, like, your story would be a great movie. You know what I mean? And I think it's a situation where it's important. I've had people tell me, like, will you talk to my kid? I'm like, wait, let me talk. He's like, well, he's lost a little bit. I'm like, I'm happy to talk to him or her, but I wouldn't suggest they follow my path. It was windy, just like you. They got to figure it out. And once they find something they're passionate about, like once I wanted to be a graphic artist. Go figure. That's what I went to tech school for. And I've had now Munz Construction for 40 years. And to be able to show people, hey, like you say, and me and you were similar that way. Like, listen, we weren't top of the class. We were inverted. It was not good. We barely got through.
The whole class stood up on my shoulders.
That's what I say. It's a situation where you get through it. And then I think people start looking like, hey, there is a chance. I don't have to be, whatever.
Yeah, I think kids need to hear where you are today is not where you'll be tomorrow. I said to my son today, because my son LJ, I said, you don't want to be the cool kid in school. Like, you don't want to, like, I'm not saying I was a nerd by any means. I was more of a troubled kid, but I got along with the cool crowd, this and that. But, like, if you're worried about the opinions, a guy came to my house today, and nice guy, Reagan, he's actually sitting here listening to this shit, and he asked me, like, your social media presence, everyone sees everybody's, what do you do with the haters? I fucking, laughed. Like, not that it was a comical question, but it was, like, a legit question from someone that would probably think, man, there's a father of 4 kids, there's a husband. I said, if you want to go to the circus, go to the fucking comment section on social media. He goes, do you even look at it? I said, no, I don't even do my own social media. I said, these guys in my office do. And he's like, you don't care about the haters at all? I was like, why would I worry about someone that has no clue who I am, that doesn't know where I've been? They're sniffing Elmer's glue in their grandmom's basement. Like, honestly, like, these losers are running around in fucking cat outfits or whatever you're doing. I mean, I don't care what you're doing. And I'm supposed to worry about your opinion of me when you're not coming to my funeral?
Well, it's the same people. You wouldn't take advice from them.
No doubt. So, like, I think to the kids, though, you got to understand that don't worry about that. These kids put so much pressure. And I said, LG, man, you don't want to be the coolest kid in school, man, because then you got to try and live up to that every year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I look back on my own childhood and I was like, man, like, all my insecurities probably got me in most trouble.
Well, I think it's my son. I said, we always want to do a little better than the old man. Right. And, so that drives you. So I told my son, Shane, I said, I'm trying to make it as tough as I can for you. It was like, he's like, Dad, I got this. I'm like, okay.
I love that.
Yeah, I like it.
Shane, I can't wait to see you finish. You should do it before I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, I appreciate you coming in. Thank you for letting me use your name. There's no bigger honor somebody could ever give them than their name.
I can't wait to do the next project.
Thank you.
All right.